Hey guys, LevelCap here, and today I want to talk about pretty much my favorite loadout in Battlefield 3. And sure enough, it is one of the guns that many people consider to be the best in the game, and it just works so well. And check it out, this is my first time getting back into Battlefield with the M16A3, and I just go on this monster kill streak. Now granted, it is in part thanks to my complete loadout, which involves the M1911 tac. And you'll notice I'm mixing in a lot of reviving, a lot of healing, a lot of killing guys that have been revived. I mean, this is No Shark Canals Team Deathmatch, so it's crazy, it's chaotic, but just the reload speed and the rate of fire in this weapon allows me to drop people extremely fast, reload it extremely fast, and be ready for more and more combat. And you're going to notice here that I start to run a little bit low on ammo. It's pretty easy to chew through your rounds when you have an 800 round per minute rate of fire and a 1.8 second reload with this weapon. You don't run into a lot of situations where you get caught mid-reload. You got 1.8 seconds, so if you can duck behind cover for that amount of time, then you're ready to go again and re-engage the combat. Now I'm completely out of ammo for the M16. Actually, I got 6 bullets left with it, and I switch over to the tac and just look at these kills racking up here. Getting so many kills with the tac. And I decide to switch back to the M16 just to see if I can get away with the last 6 bullets, and sure enough, get one more kill with that M16 to finish it up with an 18-person kill streak in the center of No Shark Canals. Not too bad for my reintroduction to the M16A3. Like I said, it's been a while, so I was kind of getting used to the recoil altogether. And a lot of people I notice have been using the foregrip with the M16 and the heavy barrel. There was a really in-depth, interesting article on Simthic about foregrip and heavy barrel and how the foregrip is supposed to be better with the heavy barrel. And I've tried the foregrip with the heavy barrel quite extensively. It's really hard for me to tell the difference, but I think I'm just more used to the recoil and the control of the weapon without the foregrip. For some reason, I don't know, maybe it's in my head, but I seem to prefer it a little bit more when I'm not using the foregrip on the M16. Now, even though the M16A3 is not really intended as a hip-firing weapon, it certainly is capable, and as you can see from that last clip there, I was absolutely wrecking people when firing from the hip. In close quarter combat, this thing has just the perfect amount of spread to deal with people when you're going through doorways for those close 10 feet or closer engagement distances. The spray of the gun, the spread, basically never exceeds a certain amount to the point where you're not going to be able to down your targets as long as they're in close range. Again, that 800 round per minute rate of fire is going to help out so much, and that fast reload keeping you constantly in the action. Now, a little bit more about my favorite loadout here. It is the M16A3 heavy barrel, and as you can see, the Cobra sight on here. The red dot sight is very similar to the Cobra sight. Some people prefer the little dot in the center to try and be a slight bit more accurate. I say if you can get used to the T crosshair in the center, then you have a little bit less metal around the outside of the sights, obstructing your vision less. And I like to run around a lot while aiming down sights. You'll notice that about my gameplay. I often peek corners while I'm already aiming down sights. If I think there's a guy in a general area, I'll aim down sights, I'll get ready for them. So I do a lot of my gameplay while aiming down sights, and the Cobra sight really allows me to do that without obstructing any of my field of vision there. If I'm using the red dot sight, it's got that slightly thicker bit of metal, and sometimes it can obstruct your vision of somebody. Sometimes it'll go over a doorway, somebody peeks out on you, and you're watching something else, and he's right behind that metal, and they will get the shot off on you, and you won't have even seen them. Now, the M16A3 is my favorite assault rifle, hands down. The M1911 isn't necessarily my favorite pistol, hands down, but I think the M1911 is perhaps my favorite pistol to use in combination with the M16, and I'll tell you why. The M16A3 has such a fast reload, such a great rate of fire, that it's absolutely perfect for close quarter combat, medium range combat, and if you can control the recoil well enough, you can even get away with long range combat pretty darn well. The problem I have is that if you're in a close quarter combat situation and maybe you get a quick double spray but you're out of ammo, and you just need to finish off that one last guy, you're going to want a pistol that's very powerful. I think personally for me, the best pistol for killing one person as fast as possible is the M1911. You have enough bullets to sort of compensate for missing your target a few times, does enough damage to drop them quickly, and it's not quite as affected by suppression as, say, the 44 Magnum. When I say not as affected by suppression, I mean the bullets deviate just like the 44 Magnum bullets would due to suppression. You just have a faster rate of fire and more bullets to pick from, basically. So if you do miss 3 shots due to suppression, you still got 6 shots left over. So again, it's a very foolproof weapon for dealing with one individual, the last guy that you can't seem to quite clean up with the M16. Now, something that's been pretty commonplace in Battlefield since its launch is the concept that the faster firing weapons are generally going to be the better weapons in this game. Once you've mastered the recoil management system in Battlefield 3, most fast firing guns become much easier to control. You can be very accurate with them, making the faster firing weapons much more powerful. If you have a gun that shoots 900 rounds per minute and you go head to head with a guy who shoots 800 rounds per minute, the 900 round per minute guy is pretty much going to win as long as they're equally skilled players. It's not to say 800 rounds per minute is not a good rate of fire, but if you can shoot 900, then why not? There's really no downside to it, assuming you can still maintain your accuracy. And using that reasoning is pretty much why a lot of competitive players still run with the AEK, except that you have to remember that competitive play generally means you're not fighting against a huge cluster of guys. It's usually 1 to 2 guys that you have to kill before you reload. In more casual play or public game plays, you're going to be dealing with a lot of players. That's why I like to have a gun that has such a fast reload with the 1.8 second reload time of the M16A3 for the short reload. Its long reload is 2.37 seconds, which is still very fast. If you compare that to the AEK is a short reload of 2.55 seconds, which is longer than even the long reload on the M16A3. Now, you are sacrificing the 900 round per minute rate of fire from the AEK for the 800 round per minute rate of fire of the M16A3, but again, in public games, I really do enjoy having that faster reload time. I cannot tell you how many times it has saved my life in public matches. You kill 2 guys, you think you're safe, you do a reload, somebody pops around that corner and mows you down. That's with when you're using the AEK, but if you have the M16, you can usually get that reload off before somebody pops around that corner. And if you know somebody else is right there, of course the sidearm can compensate for that. But you get into these longer reload situations with the AEK, especially when you burn through that entire magazine, and you have to hit the long reload time with the AEK, which is 3.68 seconds. That on, say, No Shark Canals Team Deathmatch here, really is a bit of a death sentence. 3.68 seconds without having anything to shoot people with. Most people aren't going to survive that in the center of this map. Now, if I were playing Battlefield 3 competitively in 4v4 matches or 8v8 matches, I would probably be using the AEK, trying to master the recoil of the AEK, simply because it is going to be effective when dealing with a smaller group of people. But when you're in these chaotic, unpredictable public server situations, I think the M16 really is the clear victor here. Now, if I'm going to be talking about the top tier assault rifles out there, I can't get away without mentioning the M416. M16A3, AEK, M416, those are some of the top rated assault rifles when it comes to basically their statistical performance out there. They really are the cream of the crop, some of the best weapons that you can pick from when it comes to the assault class. Now, the M416 shoots a little bit slower than the M16A3 at 750 rounds per minute, but it also shoots a little bit more accurately, and it has a slightly faster short reload time, but also a slightly longer long reload time. So in the reload department, you're sort of getting benefits here, cons there, but you are getting a more accurate platform. So overall, the M416 can be a more effective weapon at longer ranges. Something that could definitely be the victor over the M16A3 when you're engaged in long-range combat. However, for versatility, all around, working with one particular weapon for any and all maps, the M16A3 I still think is a little bit more versatile and more effective in close quarters. Anyway, that's my revisit of the M16A3, why it's one of my favorite guns in Battlefield 3. And don't worry guys, I'm not going to be showing too much more M16A3 footage in the future, unless of course we are talking about Battlefield 4's M16A3. I can't wait to see how that performs, and I think we're going to get a pretty good taste of that in E3 coming up on the 11th, 12th, and 13th. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you next time. This is LevelCap, signing off.